Hi, I'm Greg with the Ashcraft firm, and today I want to talk about a question that I get asked occasionally by clients. Should I give away my property now? The old saying goes, it's better to give with a warm hand, meaning it's better to give while you're living than after you've passed away. And what people are really asking me is, should I do an estate plan where I hold everything off until I've passed, or should I give away now? And there are some good benefits to giving property away now. You get to see your loved ones enjoy the property now. A lot of times it's really a good idea to give to charities while you're living. Um, but there might be some reasons you don't want to give to other beneficiaries, like your kids or any other loved ones. And so I wanted to go through some of the main topics here and talk to you about why you may or may not want to give away your property while you're living. So the first thing that we plan in estate planning is this estate and gift tax. It used to be a really big deal in every estate plan to plan for this estate tax. And the reason I put them on the same line here is because estate tax and gift tax are tied together. So if you're giving a property away while you're living, that ties into how much estate tax you're going to pay. So it used to be a really big issue, and the reason it was a big issue is because the what we call the exemption or the coupon amount, the amount that you can pass away with and pay zero estate taxes, used to be really low. In the year 2000, it was at $675,000, and before that, it was even lower. And this is low when you think about the fact that this $675,000 figure included life insurance, it includes your real property, it includes investments, everything. So if you lump everything together and you had more than $675,000 in your estate, then they would tax you at 55%. So this has gone away in importance, though, because at this point, since 2018, they changed the law again, and now the estate tax doesn't kick in until you hit $11 million. And then even after that, it's not 55% anymore. You're taxed at 40%. So it's becoming less important to plan for this estate and gift tax. Now, if you're giving away property while you're living, then that eats into your coupon amount, your estate tax exemption. So if you give property while you're living, then there's less amount that you can give tax-free when you pass away. But if you're eating away at $11 million rather than $675,000, the chances of you ever having to pay this estate and gift tax have gone away for the majority of people in the United States. So this is becoming less important. And when this was more important, it was a good idea to plan to gift property while you're living. But now it's becoming less important to gift around estate tax. So the second thing that we should consider is capital gains tax. Now, I want to draw this out a little so that it makes more sense. But capital gains tax, let's say that you bought a piece of property 10 years ago. So that's 2008. And you bought that piece of property for $100,000. This is the house. And let's say that that house goes up to $200,000 by 2018. Okay? So this is your property tax basis. There are things that you can do to either increase that property tax basis or decrease it, but that's essentially it. So in this house, if you sold this piece of property, then you would have to pay taxes on this $100,000 of increase. That's capital gains taxes. And it used to be that long-term capital gains was always 15%, but now it's 15 to 23.8%, and then that's federal. And then you add another 9% for here in California, a 9% plus. So it's at least 25%. So in this situation here, since it's increased to $100,000, we'd be paying $25,000 in taxes. Now, if you gift your property while you're living to your children, you give them the same property tax basis that you had in the property while you were living. And so you would give them the same situation, and they would end up paying this $25,000 tax. If this is your primary residence, you may be thinking, well, there are ways around the tax because it's my primary residence. But it's not your kid's primary residence. So they'll end up footing the tax bill on that when they do sell it. Now let's take the same circumstance, same numbers, so it's 100,000, 200,000. Let's say that you passed it instead through a will or a trust. You get a step up in basis at the date of death, which means what they'll do is they'll get an appraisal, and they'll say, okay, it's worth 200,000. That's their new property tax basis. So if they sell the property at $200,000, they will pay zero in capital gains taxes. So if you wait to pass property at passing, when you die, then you will help for capital gains tax. And so the way that the tax laws work right now, since the estate tax is less important and capital gains tax is increasingly important, now it's 23.8%, it makes more sense to keep the property in your estate until after you've passed away. So more people are shifting away from gifting while they're living and keeping the property in their estate so that it gets the step up in basis. So if you do, though, decide after looking at your estate that it's a good idea to gift property while you're living, then you want to gift property that's appreciating. Because if you are facing some situation where you might pay some estate or gift tax, then you want to give property that has a lower value now, but may increase substantially after you've gifted that property. So it's a good idea to give something like stocks in a business that you privately own that you know is going to go public or something like that. So property that's appreciating is the right thing to give away. You also, I want to make sure, because when we're talking about gifting, people think about their beneficiaries and they think, well, I want to treat everybody equally. And if you're like, for instance, let's say that you're a small business owner and you have one child that works in the business with you, and at retirement, you want to gift your stock in that business to that child who's been working with you. That doesn't mean necessarily that you have to give your other children property while you're living, because treating unequals equally is unequal. And what I mean by that is if you have one child that's working in the business with you and growing that business and the other child's not doing anything with the business, then maybe you do want to gift that property to that child that's working in the business because they're increasing the value and things like that. While the other child, if you gave them a portion of the business, that's not really treating them equally because they didn't have a hand in increasing the business's value. So that's something to keep in mind when you're gifting. The last thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about gifting property while you're living is your future. You don't want to do anything that could possibly sacrifice your financial future. If you were gifting property, you don't want to give away your primary residence for the most part. Because if you gift that property to one child, maybe somebody will have to take care of you financially in the future. So think about your future before you gift anything. Because making sure you're financially sound is helpful not just to you, but to your family and your loved ones. So anyway, when you're thinking about whether you should gift property away while you're living, if it's over $15,000, it's a good idea to consult a professional. You can talk to us if you're local, or find a local estate planning attorney to talk to you about your options for gifting. Thanks so much for listening.